Ladies and gentlemen, to introduce the President, please welcome Secretary of Health and Human Services, Kathleen Sebelius.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be back in Iowa. I'm Kathleen Sebelius, and I'm the Secretary of Health and Human Services and a former governor of a neighboring state of Kansas. Now, you all have heard about Kansas, I think. In fact, my beloved Jayhawks were on their way to St. Louis and ran into northern Iowa. So when the president asked me about coming here, I felt just a little bit bitter about this visit, but great to see a colleague and friend, your Governor Chet Culver, and brought a colleague and friend. Former Governor Tom Vilsack, my colleague in the cabinet, is also here with me, so it's great to be back. Can't hear you? Well, we got to figure that out before the president comes. So I'm disappointed in our game. But I have to tell you, this wasn't just any ordinary team you beat. This was a team that all the pundits said were going all the way. They were the #1 team. They were going to be the national champs. And then the Panthers met them. So even though I'm disappointed in the game, I think it's definitely a little lesson that it's never about the pundits. It's never about the polls. It's about what happens when you play the game. And the Panthers ultimately controlled their own destiny, and I want to congratulate them and wish them well as they head off to St. Louis. But, you know, in this case, the basketball game is a little bit like what's happened in this health insurance reform debate. There were a lot of people who said this could never happen in America. There were a lot of people who said this challenge is just too hard. It's impossible. People who said the days of America solving big problems were over, that breaks for working families like Social Security and Medicare were never going to happen again. They said it couldn't be done. But you all refused to buy that. You didn't listen to the predictions. You didn't listen to the polls. You knew America had a chance to claim a better future. You believed that if we took on the insurance companies, we could establish consumer protections to give families back control over their own health care. You believed if we got serious about eliminating waste and fraud that we could make health insurance more affordable for all Americans, giving the largest middle-class tax cut for health care ever in the history of this country. You believed we could help small business owners and farm families, giving them some choices and some breaks, and the kind of opportunities that members of Congress now enjoy should be enjoyed by all of America. And you believe that if we took the best ideas from Republicans and Democrats, we could finally put a package of reforms on the table that would end the budget-busting increases to health care that all of us are experiencing around the country. And because you believed, on Tuesday, President Obama signed comprehensive health insurance reform. And for the first time since the days of President Teddy Roosevelt, we're not asking anymore, when are we going to fix health care? We're going to start to fix health care starting today. So this is your victory, but you actually got a lot of help along the way. You got help from your representatives in Congress who voted for reform because they believed it was in the best interests of Iowans and not, even though it may not be in the best interests of their careers. You got a lot of help from a president who kept a promise he made here in Iowa almost 3 years ago and waged a fight a lot of people told him not to take on. Now, I don't know if I've ever seen in my career a president fight harder for something he believed in. Every time reform stalled, he was there to broker a compromise. Every time it lost momentum, he was there to remind us about the millions of Americans who counted on us to get the job done. I visited Iowa and Ohio. I did. Iowa, Ohio, and a lot of states. You like Ohio. Ohio's a good state. But I visited a lot of states during the presidential campaign, and the same question came up over and over again. Everybody knew that candidate Obama was smart. Everybody knew he had a remarkable ability to inspire folks. They knew he was a great leader. The question they asked is, was he tough enough? Could he get the legislative process going? Could he bring the kind of change to Washington that we talked about? Was he going to be able to wage those difficult fights and move this country forward toward a future we all believed in? Critics wondered if the president and those who elected him would really be able to work together for the promise of change. And I think the answer now is pretty clear. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. And it's now my great pleasure to ask you to welcome the President of the United States of America, President Barack Obama.